at 7:30, whether we're all here or not. At 7:50.
Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Just a quick announcement. If you drive a blue Dodge, license plate 568 WDL, your vehicle was hit, I'm being told. 568 WDL, just an FYI. change these right now? Just 2 hours. Okay.
Mr. Lewis, Dr. Smith, Mr. Swope, members of the Bellevue Board of Education, School-Based Decision-Making Council, faculty members, parents, guardians, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 131st commencement of Bellevue High School and the graduation of the class of 2019. Graduation signifies the end, but let us please remember that the term commencement also signifies a beginning. This is certainly a happy occasion, but it is also bittersweet as this class is leaving Bellevue High School. As we tell our students often, once you are a tiger, you are always a tiger. Our graduates are members of our family, and while they are leaving to begin adult life on their own, I hope they always consider Bellevue home. We love them and we will miss them, but tonight we celebrate our graduates' achievements while wishing them safe passage onto their new beginning on the road of life. Please enjoy the moment, for it is far too short, and at the same time, it is a vital part in the lifelong learning process. Now, would everyone please stand for our national anthem and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In all graduating classes, it is customary to recognize the high academic achievement of our students. We do so by designating the valedictorian and salutatorian of the class. Mr. Sean Huseman is our class valedictorian, and Miss Cassie Schweitzer is our salutatorian this year. This evening, we will hear from several speakers that will provide you closure on your time at Bellevue. Therefore, it is with great pleasure I introduce Mr. Sean Huseman, valedictorian of the class of 2019.
Speech. I'm just kidding. It'll be short though. Good afternoon, friends, family, neighbors, faculty, mentors, and educators. I'd like to thank all of you for coming tonight and the support you've given us throughout the years. We wouldn't be here without you. And good afternoon, Bellevue High School, class of 2019. We are in the last minutes of our high school careers, and when we leave this building, we can finally take a deep breath and think about what we want to do for the rest of our lives. It's not an easy task. It doesn't matter what you do after you leave this building, as long as it's something you want to do. Life is too short to spend it doing something you feel obligated to do. What you think you should do, but rather what you want to do. What makes you feel satisfied and connected in life. This could be your job, but it doesn't have to be. This could be what you do on the weekends or what you do after work. And what you want probably can and probably will change, at least a little bit, and that's okay. We've graduated high school, and that's a great achievement. And it's not just a celebration of completing our tests and homework from elementary school to high school. It's a celebration of growth. We've completed the first large chapter of our lives, and it's time to start a new one. I wish the best of luck to you, Bellevue High School, class of 2019. Let's crush it.
The people seated up here on the stage are well known to the community of Bellevue, but for all of our guests, I must take the opportunity to recognize the distinguished colleagues behind me. Dr. Rob Smith, Superintendent. Mr. Dan Swope, Chairman of the Board. Ms. Julie Fisher, Vice Chair. Ms. Jenny Hazris. Mr. Chris Gronick. Ms. Jen Owens. Mr. Dan Sparks. Mr. Dave Pelgin, Assistant Principal at Bellevue High School. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our Superintendent, Dr. Rob Smith.
Good evening. Harvey Lewis is an educator, adventurer, and endurance athlete. 15 years ago, Harvey was involved in a near-fatal car accident that left him with a broken neck. Neurosurgeons rebuilt his fourth and fifth vertebrae with added titanium and bone implants. Harvey went on to recover, and his accomplishments have been nothing short of amazing. He won the Badwater 135, described by National Geographic as the world's toughest foot race. Runners run 135 miles from the lowest point in the Western Hemisphere to the portal of the highest mountain in the lower 48 states. The race is in Death Valley National Park, the hottest place on the planet, where temperatures have reached 134 degrees Fahrenheit. 2 weeks ago, he ran 156.3 miles in 24 hours to qualify for the fifth consecutive time to represent Team USA at the 24-hour World Championships. Harvey's adventures have taken him to 95 countries on all 7 continents. He has run many historic routes, including Gandhi's 241-mile Salt March in India, the Selma Rights March in Alabama, and most recently, the 2,190 miles of the Appalachian Trail. Harvey's epic journey on the Appalachian Trail with his father is chronicled in the recently released feature documentary, Like Harvey, Like Son. Mr. Lewis lives in Cincinnati and teaches economics and American government at the School for Creative and Performing Arts. Unsurprisingly, he runs to work. Rumor has it that he also ran here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, class of 2019, please welcome Mr. Harvey Lewis.
Good evening. Good evening. It is so exciting to be here tonight. When I think about events, there's probably 2 events that come to mind that make me the most excited, and that being graduations and weddings. So for everyone here tonight, I look out and I see a sea of prideful people here to celebrate your graduation, and we are so excited for you guys. Thank you to Principal Darnell, also to the faculty, and most definitely the graduating class of 2019. I'm honored and excited to join you here for this momentous milestone. Muhammad Ali said, "The man with no imagination has no wings." Let your imagination wander here tonight as I share some suggestions to assist you in the adventure that awaits you. 20 years ago, I was seated where you are tonight, believe it or not. This is my 25th year graduation reunion. Time goes fast, and you owe it to yourself to get the most out of life. First, dream big. There's a famous quote from the book The Alchemist. There is only one thing that makes a dream impossible to achieve: the fear of failure. Failure is part of the journey. Growing up, none of my classmates in middle school or high school would have ever dreamed that I'd be an accomplished athlete in a million years. I played football and I ran track. However, I was third string tight end in football. And in track, I always competed to try not to finish last. However, then I was introduced into running, and I ran a marathon and then another. I never was fast, but I loved being outside, the challenge of it, and the feeling of being active. I never really believed I could be an amazing runner. Perhaps I was afraid of failing, or I just never was able to give it my all. One fateful day in July 2004 changed that. I was 28 and I had just run the Hyde Park Blast. I was driving to pick up my son when a Dodge Intrepid spun out on the highway. I went off the road, my braking. To avoid hitting them, I slammed on my brakes, and my car violently flipped over many times. Fortunately, because I was wearing my seatbelt, I survived. I was upside down and I dropped to the roof of the car, and I tried my hardest to kick out the glass. However, I couldn't. So I ended up crawling out the back of the car. Finally, I managed to get out. When I stood up and looked at the devastated vehicle, it was if I received a new grant on life. I felt greater than I could ever describe. After breaking my neck, a new dream was born with running. I sought out bigger and bigger challenges. I ran a couple triathlons and a 100-mile race, but still I was seeking greater challenges. My Aussie cousin sent me a DVD of this most unusual race called Badwater. 100 of the most hardened runners in the world compete from 20 different countries to run 135 miles across Death Valley National Park in mid-July, over 2 giant mountains and finishing on the third, the portal of Mount Whitney, which is the highest mountain in the lower 48. It was the hottest place on earth during what averaged to be the hottest time of the year. The film that I saw showed runners pulling tires, training in saunas, running an incalculable number of miles up and down mountains. If in the race itself, runners run on the white line so their shoes don't melt. Some dumped themselves into ice coolers or had ice dumped over them. Runners looked like zombies, and yet there was a level of exhilaration that was captivating. I loved it. I decided right then and there that I was going to run this race. To quote again from The Alchemist, when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. Chase after big dreams that give you purpose and passion in life. Second, mindset is everything. President Teddy Roosevelt once said, "Believe you can, and you're halfway there." The man once gave an 84-minute speech after being shot, so I think you should probably listen to him. You know he must be right. Running in 126 degrees may seem like torture to many onlookers, but it's really how I frame the race mentally that makes all the difference. Actually, the difficulty and challenge of Badwater is what drew me to the event to begin with. Now, if you'll go along with this, close your eyes for a minute. I'm in the fight. at about mile 50. There's a battle within my soul on this first mountain. I feel the heat radiating against my body and the lactic acid challenging my legs as I struggle up the 16 miles to Towns Pass. I struggle to catch enough oxygen to keep myself vertical. The road is steep. A car passes and I smell the burn from their brake pads, like the burn of my muscles. I accept the fatigue, discomfort, and hellacious temperatures and focus strictly on the task at hand. Doubts creep into me as the difficulty becomes greater. I have to make it to the next peak. Before even imagining the steep descent to follow that will eat at my quads, I focus on the next telephone pole, the next mile, the next step. I keep my mind positive and focus on what I can control. I think about my why. I think about what motivates me and helps me to drive me forward while the forces of nature and gravity push me back. I think about my family, my friends, students, people who I've met who've made a mark on my life. Now, please open your eyes. Think about what is your why, because that's what's going to drive you when you get to those moments in life that are tenacious, that are difficult, and you must overcome. Third, never underestimate the power of perseverance. Maya Angelou said, "You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated." In fact, it may be necessary to encounter these defeats so that you can know who you are, what you can rise from, and how you can still come out of it. When I broke my neck, my life flashed before me. I had titanium and additional bone added in my neck where they fused my fourth and fifth vertebrae. I was released from a hospital a couple of days after the surgery and given a giant container of pain pills. I felt some discomfort, but I didn't take a single pill. I started walking the day I got home, and within a couple of days, I began going back to teach summer school, and I started walking back and forth to work every day. 2 months later, I started to slowly run. After 3 months, I ran the Columbus Marathon. It took me about a year to get back to where I was before, but since that time, I've never looked back. Even last year, I ran my fastest marathon of my entire life. So imagine my first one was when I was 15, and I'm 43 now. So every year, you can continuously grow. Badwater is just a race, but has taught me some important lessons in life. I can't speak largely enough of the value of perseverance. Every Badwater runner, just like each of you, has a story and has experienced adversity. One of my favorite athletes is a man named Chris Moon. He's a military veteran from the United Kingdom, and he worked for a nonprofit detonating mines in Mozambique. And the mine actually blew up on him, and he lost his arm and his leg. He's a double amputee. But what's remarkable is he ran the whole 135 miles of Badwater with one arm and one leg. Yes, you can do it. Yes, you can do it. When I first applied to Badwater in 2007, I didn't get in. I had been running ultras for about 10 years, and I thought I would surely get in. I was really disappointed. I didn't apply again for 4 years, but when I did, I had built a seasoned running resume with many more 100-mile races. My application was accepted in 2011, and I was ecstatic. I loved training for the race. The race lived up to its name. It was tough, and it was amazing, and I managed to finish 11th the first year I ran it. My dream changed, and I sought out a new dream. Just as you guys are going to go forth now, and you're going to have new dreams that are going to come to you. My dream was to not only run the race, but to actually win the race, which was pretty improbable given my previous history. So my dream evolved. It went from a dream of running Badwater to winning Badwater. I trained harder. I got up and I ran at 4:45 in the morning. I ran from Eden Park to Bellevue Park and back before I started the teaching day. I pulled a tire, and I ran with a big backpack. My second and third years, I climbed up in the rankings, and I finished 4th place in both years. It appeared I would possibly never, ever crack the podium and finish in the top 3. I tried to be more creative with my time. I then began to consistently run every day as a streak back and forth to work. And today was my mark of my 6th year of doing that. I ran up and down every possible hill or mountain, molehill I could find, everything. And so I was absolutely exhausted. We all can embody these qualities of perseverance. It isn't inherited, and I did not start off that way. It's having heart, refusing to submit, and pushing your personal limits as far as you can go. 4th, invest in relationships. We have all these amazing people here tonight, and I've gotten to meet a few of you. It's been a pleasure. But you have these people here that love you, and they are people that are going to act as your jet fuel as you propel yourself forward in this adventure of life. If we each look at our lives, there is not a single one of us here that can't think of someone right now who has impacted our life. My father says, never pass on the opportunity to make a new friend. Never underestimate the potential of somebody that you may underestimate. Don't underestimate anybody. Value the relationships with your family, your friends, your neighbors, coworkers. You could have all the money in the world, but it's meaningless without relationships. Seek out to build an inner circle with people who support you and help you to grow. When I ran Badwater, I never really felt alone. Even though you run the 135 miles by yourself, I had a crew of 4 friends who leapfrogged me from the minivan, supplying me with drinks and ice and gels and food. They were nearly as excited to chase a victory as I was. My friends and family who had seen me train for years and years added incalculable encouragements to my sales. I was still the underdog. What was a Midwest guy? What does a Midwest guy know about mountains or temperatures over 110 degrees? We really don't have those in Cincinnati. I mean, equivalent would be Mount Adams times about 30 would give you the feeling of one of the 3 mountains you have to climb over. It didn't bother us at all. I aggressively took the lead from the start of the race and fought to maintain it. I reached the 2nd mountain, and I didn't know if my body would give out. With the steep ascent, I kept focused on the positives. My team members gave me continual encouragements. I thought about my fiance, Kelly, who is here tonight, and I thought about my mother, who had survived a devastating stroke back in 1995 and still has a positive outlook on life. I thought about students. I thought about neighbors. I thought about all kinds of people that had touched my life. At mile 134, with less than a mile to go, climbing up one of the most beautiful mountains on the planet, I kept looking back in disbelief, expecting that the competitor would pass me at any moment, but they never came. The experience was surreal. Having a dream and working tirelessly to the end, only to see it manifested, was the greatest gift I had experienced. When I finally saw the finish line, it was sweeter than I could ever describe. My teammates ran the final 400 meters with me as we crossed the finish line. I finished first, and I won the Badwater 135. 10 years and to the month of when I broke my neck. Exactly 10 years to the month of when I broke my neck. I won what they call the toughest foot race on the planet. It had been an arduous climb, an unlikely path, but one that I achieved not alone, but with the help of countless other people. So in conclusion, please dream big. Strengthen your positive mindset. Strive to build your perseverance and treasure your relationships in life. Each of you embody the hopes and dreams of your nation, the community, Bellevue High School, your family, and your friends, and your classmates. Today is the start of a big adventure for you all. Never stop growing, reinvent yourself, and continuously seek to create a better world for everybody. I will end with my favorite quote, attributed to Mark Twain. 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the things that you did. So throw off the bow lines, sail away from safe harbors, and catch the trade winds in your sail. Explore, dream, discover. Thank you guys, and best wishes. Blessings.
Mr. Lewis, on behalf of the class of 2019, we have a wall plaque for you. It reads, on May 30th, 2018, Harvey Lewis began his quest to conquer the Appalachian Trail. His fastest known time effort covered the 2,190-mile trail in 49 days, 15 hours. To date, this is the 8th fastest Appalachian Trail run in history. Bellevue High School congratulates Mr. Harvey Lewis on his achievements and is honored to have Mr. Lewis deliver the 131st commencement address to the class of 2019. Thank you. At this time, I'm going to ask the senior members of the Band of Gold to join them one final time as they play their musical selection, Heaven's Light by Stephen Reinecke. Thank you, Mr. Wheeler and the members of the Band of Gold. If we could have one final round of applause for our senior members of the Band of Gold. Dr. Smith, Mr. Swope, members of the Board of Education, with the advice and consent of the faculty of Bellevue High School and by the powers vested in me by the Commonwealth of Kentucky, it is my pleasure to present the 131st graduating class, the Bellevue High School class of 2019.
There are 50 graduates in the 131st annual commencement, and 47 of our graduates are participating in the exercise this evening. In order that all parents, guardians, family members, and friends may hear our graduates' names as they are announced, we respectfully ask that you hold your applause until the entire class has completed receiving their diplomas. It is now my distinct honor to announce the Bellevue High School class of 2019. Destiny Renee Addison. Nathaniel Lee Addison. Jasmine O. Bricking. Brianna M. Bridewell. Seth Avery Clark. Benjamin Anthony Cope. Jesse Michael Day. Ariana Paige Dotson. Colin Recton Duty. Aaron Renee Fisher. Soraya Michelle Gabriel Perez. Miguel Jose Garcia. Megan Renee Gilkey. Kylie Mae Hicks. Daniel Ray Hill. Royale Angeli Hopkins. Jeremiah Chai Howe. Sean Christopher Huseman Jr., valedictorian. Christopher James Jones III. Keith Alexander Krentz. Alexis Ann Ledger. Lincoln Othello Mahaney. Maiko Nayem Martinez. Harper Hissong McEwen. Kiana Marie McGuire. Raymond James Mertens. Dallas E. Montgomery. Brandy Aaron Taylor Moore. Kevin Renee Poncio. Ariana Haley Prophet. Aiden Christopher Cork. Sydney Lynn Raleigh. Thomas William Ratterman III. William Reuben Elliott Reynolds. Kenneth B. Ross II. Autumn Page Ryan. William Thomas Ryan. Dylan Carroll Rylant. Mark Anthony Saunders Jr. Cassandra Michelle Schweitzer, salutatorian. Grace Christine Shockney. Joseph Douglas Sparks. Austin Christopher Talon. Haley Alexis Tiemeyer. Jaylee Sue Vanover. Olivia Marie Veneman. Haley Brianne Walls. Ladies and gentlemen, please applaud the class of 2019. On behalf of Mr. Darnell, the faculty, and myself, I wish to commend not only this fine class of young men and women, but please join us in applauding the parents, guardians, grandparents, and family members who help make them the wonderful people that they are. This is a wonderful event, and the fact that your daughter or son is here tonight and prepared for a career or college readiness opportunity is also a direct result of hard work by countless teachers from preschool, kindergarten, elementary, middle school, and high school. The most important aspect of public education is competent, knowledgeable, and caring teachers. Would all the teachers from Bellevue Independent School District please stand so we can recognize the investment you put into each student that is graduating tonight. Graduates, please move your tassels from right to left. You are now alumni of Bellevue High School. Be true to the Tiger traditions.
As Mr. Pelgin just said, traditions are important, and we at Bellevue High School value all of our traditions. Our commencement tradition always concludes with closing remarks by the class president. Please welcome the president of the class of 2019, Ms. Kylie Hicks.
Good evening. I'd like to thank everyone for joining my classmates and I for this amazing event in our lives. We have all worked so hard to get to this point, and it is something everyone should be proud of. Before I begin, I'd like to say a few words about my uncle who suddenly passed away this year, and I would like to dedicate this speech to him. My Uncle Chuck was an amazing man who lived a life full of love, laughter, and happiness. One of the things he loved the most was his family, and he always taught me lessons about the significance of having a family. In fact, the lessons he taught me can apply to each and every one of you because I truly see us all as a family. Whether we like it or not, growing up in such a small town forced us all to become close instantly. We learned every single secret about everyone, often lived next door to one another, and spent countless hours in and out of the classroom together. Consequently, inseparable bonds and relationships were formed. Like a family, everyone argued at times, but it never lasts long. We always seem to forgive and forget pretty quickly. Throughout the years, we had many kids come and go. For instance, we had the arrival of Southgate students at the start of our freshman year. But if one thing's true about the class of 2019, it is that even if you're not here all 4 years of high school or through elementary school, we welcomed you in and made you feel like you have been here since the first day of kindergarten. Although we may not be related by blood, it does not change the love and respect that everyone has for each other. And honestly, all that is needed for a family is a connection, and we have that. The bond that everyone has formed over these several years is something that I encourage everyone to value and never let go of. Always stay in contact with your close friends, no matter the distance they may go. Frequently plan dinners with the classmates who are close by. Never stop making these memories with your peers. Although our journey at Bellevue High School may be ending, it does not mean that this needs to be the end of our connection. It feels like only yesterday we were on the playground at Grandview playing wiffle ball or hanging on the monkey bars. When I reflect back, I don't think of the times spent taking tests or working on assignments. I remember our field days, the days where our class earned pizza parties, the countless class periods playing Kahoot, the lunches where everyone would have a stack of cards in their hands, and so much more. The amazing, fun memories are the ones I recall. And honestly, I can say I have a fond memory with each and every one of my classmates that I will remember forever. And I and several of us continue to ask ourselves, where did the time go? One certainty in life is that time waits for no one. Time will continue to move fast, especially after we leave this room today. This is why it is so important that we never lose this relationship that has meant so much to us over these past years. If I can give everyone a lasting piece of advice, it would to live life like my uncle did. Be carefree. Constantly surround yourself by laughter. And most importantly, always cherish and love your family.
Graduates, please rise for the alma mater and remain standing for the recessional.
You know what? If you guys use it on the truck, you can back on the truck. And brake and keep your instrument. Yeah. I'm gonna go unlock the trailer, but brake will keep your instrument, right? Lock your instrument. So what did I do? Brake, keep your instrument. Okay. Put it back in the trailer. That's good.
I just don't tell them.